And happy to have you on the platform, my guy. Finally made it happen.
Hey, I appreciate it, brother. How's it going, man?
Hey, man, just grinding, man. Conducting these interviews, man. That's the way of life for me.
So what do people call you? Art? Like how do people refer to you? Like I see different people do different things.
Yeah, you can call me Art. Most people call me Art, so you can rock with that.
Yeah, well, I would have assumed it might have been short for something, but all the dialogue, it has multiple meanings. So
Yeah, man, I'm glad to finally get you on the platform, man. I mean, your name been coming up a lot of my interviews, like I was telling you. So I'm happy we finally made it happen, man. And I was doing some looking, and I had no idea you had Cam, Junior Mafia, Charlie Baltimore. How was it like working with them, man?
I mean, it's kind of like two different parts to it. Because it was two different, I would say two different families in a sense. And I was sort of like the surrogate parent to it. When Big sort of we was both parents when he was here and when he passed, I sort of was like, the one who everybody sort of looked to provide, some sort of clarity to all of the madness that was going on. But it was dope, man. I mean, from the Undear's perspective, I mean, me and Biggie sort of created this company, which originally started out as a marketing company. Undear stood for, was sort of like ideas. So it was Undear. So it started sort of like just this marketing idea, um, geared around ideas for between me and Biggie and his career path with at the time it was Bad Boy Uptown. Um in creating uh a production company, which is a whole story in itself on how the group, the Junior Mafia, was created. There was 9 members in the group. Biggie was a contractual member to that group, as a solo artist away from Bad Boy. Um, and he also was the part owner in the company. So, it was our job, my job primarily was to help him use the brand of Junior Mafia to sort of help promote the Notorious Big. And that was sort of his plan. If you go back and you look at the history of how things was moving back then. There was a Bad Boy record which was juicy at the time, and then there was a Undeers record at the time which was Players Anthem. And the Players Anthem record came about because at one point Big was a little bit concerned about crossover records. He really wanted to Puff's credit, Biggie really wanted it to be some but Puff had a commercial ear and a commercial mentality in terms of selling records. So, but Big knew that he had to counterbalance that with the streets. So he was delivering, while Puff was doing Juicy, Biggie was like, "Niggas, grab your dicks if you love hip hop," right? So he was giving you all street bangers. Puff put out Big Papa, Biggie come back with Bitches Get Money. So there was a method to his balance in terms of the way he was positioning himself on the charts. So that's a whole nother nucleus as to how Big thought. But what's interesting, that now that we're talking about the inception, I sort of want to before I sort of go back to the past, I want to sort of discuss the present situation that's going on, primarily with um, the individuals who are suing Faith Evans post Miss Wallace's death, about the estate. And I'm like, this, it's been 30 years of me sort of being quiet in the sense of how the estate has been sort of operated and managed for the last 30 years. One, because like I said, once you understand the story, I sort of, my job back then was to advise Biggie on bad boy affairs, right? That's all I did, was just give him my input on Puff wants me to do this, Puff wants me to do that. What do you think? But my active day-to-day job was being his partner in the business that we were building, right? So no one else was privy to that except me and Big, because it was our business. I was his only official business partner. He was a bad boy artist, but when it came to his vision of record company, music business, fashion, the Brooklyn Mint, this is where I was his partner in all of these businesses. So now, fast forward, there's some people who are all really underlings of Puff Daddy. Puff Daddy has been sort of behind the scenes controlling this estate and the direction of what the brand should be, and really's been making all of the money, off the top, because of the music. And there's just things that are unfair to his children. They've been really suffering in a sense where everything that, from me looking on the outside, looking in, everything that they sort of wanted to do, I said, that's exactly what Big would have wanted for them, right? And give you an example about the marijuana business where both of his kids are in now. The people who are, who influenced Mrs. Wallace, God bless her, um, was thinking that it was a bad idea. And I'm saying, but Big would have wanted that. He would have told his kids, just make sure the weed is fire. You know what I'm saying? And these kids has been in the weed business before it took off in New York City. Like this hundreds of millions of dollars of weed business, they were in the forefront of it. And like I said, because it didn't benefit the powers that controlled the estate, the manipulation of the estate, they've now, got to play catch up in that business. You know what I'm saying? Big would have told his daughter, oh, you want to be in fashion? Here, take Brooklyn Mint and go for it, right? So it's just a lot of things, like the Meta deal with Facebook I was a part of trying to negotiate it with Little Kim. The reason why Little Kim wasn't a part of it, because these people were full of shit. They were stealing all of the money for themselves. They were trying to underpay her. That's the reason why she's not a part of it. And then I'm saying, you can't promote a Biggie brand without the Junior Mafia, because that's what he created them for. He created them to help promote his brand. So now all of a sudden, everybody's taking money off the top. The movie, Puff gets all of the music money and the story money, and the meta. He's Avatar along with Biggie. You know what I'm saying? It's like now all of a sudden, you guys started working for him. Y'all came into business. as his interns. Y'all was given direction as his interns. You guys had nothing to do with his business outside of that. You know, you guys have managed the estate. Poor Miss Wallace, because she didn't know any of this, what was going on. You know, so and then past that, you bleed the family and didn't give anything back. You know what I'm saying? Like, you create a company called Ciroc. You could have gave Caesar $500,000 a year as an ambassador. You could have gave Kim her own alcohol and made her millions of dollars. You didn't do none of that. You know what I'm saying? And don't even get me to start talking about it. All of the other people was taking advantage of the situation. So it's just one of those things where I have to breathe now, because, like I said, Mrs. Wallace is at peace. And now is the time for people to understand that the Biggie's brand is for the entire world to enjoy, right? His legacy, everything that he helped to create, everything that he touched and helped brand, the, you know, kudos to the Locks, who still takes care of the Mafia, and C's and Banger and Faith, and all of these people who have been loyal to Biggie, you know, and the people who were not loyal, the Jay-Z's and the Puffs, you know what I'm saying? Jay-Z, yeah, you you take advantage of the brand because you use all of Biggie's lyrics to sell all of these records, marketing between me and you, and you own the biggest touring company, but C's don't got no work. Kim ain't got no work. Banger has his own transportation a company. Why isn't he doing the tours? Like, you guys are full of shit. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all talk about y'all his big brother and all of this garbage, but all of his peoples, the people who he worked so hard to help out, you guys abandoned. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you could say whatever you want to say, but the brand will not, from this day forward, we don't need y'all. We don't need y'all because we could do it ourselves. Give it to the kids. The kids is old enough, faith in them. They know exactly what to do. The Mafia, Kim and them, they know exactly what to do when it comes to that brand, how to promote that brand, how to market that brand. So all you other jokers, step to the side. Y'all done made all of the money. Y'all done stole all of the money from them. It's time to let it go. Let it go. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, in saying that, we can now start this interview.
So you have an issue with Jay reciting Big lyrics. I remember you telling me off the record that Big would have had an issue with that.
Yeah, I mean, it was that competitive with those guys. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at the end of the day, in the beginning, there was a respect thing. But what showed me that it was competitive as two rappers was we paid Jay-Z to be on a Little Kim record um, on her first album. And Jay-Z sort of dissed me and Biggie at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, if you listen to the record, Big Mama thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll understand what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know, it's a, you can't use my rhymes. You know what I'm saying? Like, Big was all the way hip hop. You know what I'm saying? He was all the way hip hop. When he said the line, my target, all you MCs who started rapping, he meant that. You know what I'm saying? So now, at the end of the day, And Jay knows this. He's not unaware of, man, I know I couldn't have got away with all this shit at this time. You know what I'm saying? But he's not here. You know what I mean? Like nobody else is the wiser. You know what I mean? Like, but in terms of, and this is only about hip hop. This has no, me and Jay, we have personal whatever, but this is in regards to Biggie and Jay and hip hop. You know what I'm saying? That he would have got at him. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about especially on the level that he was doing it. You know what I mean? Like don't believe me. You know, your fans, your following is big and smart enough to go do the research. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, if you're gonna stand on business and you're gonna stand on it all, do it all. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, don't give C's a throwaway verse for his album. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, you say, C's, I'm gonna give you a single where you're gonna make millions of dollars and set you up. Not give you a throwaway verse on your first album. I ain't charge you nothing, but it's a throwaway verse. It's nothing. It's not even a B-side verse. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things, like I said, are important to hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like the camaraderie of hip hop. Like, no, we're not gonna be we're not gonna bite lyrics, and we're not gonna, yeah, all right, paying homage is one thing, but multiple times is now it's becoming disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? As a purist in terms of hip hop, you know what I'm saying?
So at the time of Big passing, how was Jay and Big relationship? Because Jay, he was on Life After Death, so I could imagine they was cool, right?
Man, listen, man, by the time, see what people don't really understand, like I said, this is a story, and I'm gonna try to be as detailed with it when Fulton Street comes out. But it's a story that weaves itself so much in and out of each other, you know what I'm saying, in terms of where the relationship was and how the relationship was building. At some point in their relationship, Big had thought upon himself, right? And people might question me about the timeline of, of where Jay was at in his career. But I do know for a fact that Jay-Z didn't graduate with Biggie, Tupac, and Nas. He sort of got left back, right? Because Jay-Z, Tupac, Biggie, and Nas was selling million album, multiple million plus albums. Jay-Z's first album, he was struggling to go gold. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z didn't graduate. He graduated with Cam and DMX and Ja Rule in them. You see what I'm saying? In the conversation of the sophomore, the you know how Double XL used to do the freshman class. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, you didn't make you're not on the freshman cover. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not on this year's freshman cover. But like I said, people will take it out of context, and I'm saying nah, because at the time, the same way Biggie promoted Junior Mafia and used Junior Mafia as a marketing tool, and the reason why I say that, because if you go back and do the history, and you know Biggie name dropped the name Junior Mafia before they were anything. Before they were even that considered of just C's and Chico. You know what I'm saying? His mans in them on Fulton Street, right? And he name dropped it so much that he started subliminally having people like Puff and them say it, right? In records, right? So now all of a sudden this group pops up and there's this major success, right? That is creates a Nas tell the story about, man, I had to create the firm because Biggie and them had Junior Mafia. So it was we was a competitive thing, right? And, I wanted Nas in the Mafia, right? So now all of a sudden, it's time for Biggie to start thinking about what his next creative project is, right? And this is why I say that all weaved into the same story. At one time, once upon a time, we was at a video shoot for 112 remix and the introduction of Mace through Biggie. Biggie was gonna help introduce Mace to the world on this remix, right? On that video shoot, Puff rose up and he has a record and it's called More Money, More Problems that he plays for me. So when I hear it, I say, yo, this should be your next single. Now, this would have been a follow-up single to the joint with him and Mace, where Jay-Z dissed Mace and said, you'll always be number two, right? All of a sudden, he says, tell Big that. So we walk over to Big and I say, yo, that should be Puff's next single. And Big say, nah, that's gonna be my second single. And I'ma break Puff as my artist. You now my artist. I manage you, right? So now he creates a project called The Commission, right? And in The Commission, he's helping Puff Daddy. He's helping Charli Baltimore. He's going to help Jay-Z. People say, well, why would he need to help Jay-Z? If you follow me on the story, you'll understand what Jay-Z, how he needed, not help, but I'm looking out for my man type shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe in you and I want you to be down with my movement, right? So that's his next creative wave. I'm a part of the group as Uncle Paulie. You know what I'm saying? People get me confused with the other Uncle Paulie who was Puff Security, but I'm the Uncle Paulie that everybody know who Uncle Paulie is. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a part of the group, probably on some advisory, financial, just whatever tip, right? And so now there's this Commission album waiting to happen, right? Now, what's interesting, and like I said, I could bounce all over the place, is that wouldn't it be so interesting to know that when after Big dies, Puff releases No Way Out. I mean, the record, and he makes it his first single off of No Way Out album. You know what I'm saying? That's More Money, More Problems is Puff Daddy featuring Mace and Biggie for the No Way Out album. But Big's wishes was for it to be for his second single. You know what I'm saying? And he knew it was supposed to be Big's second single, but he decided to make it his first single. Right? So this is the advantage that these dudes were taking, you know what I'm saying, all over the place. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, Biggie had a strategic plan for everything that he was doing. You know what I'm saying? So now when you take that, right, and you couple that with my intentions on, okay, now I know what Big's plan is moving forward, which is Cam'ron, Charli Baltimore, I'm trying to get the Commission record done, right? After Big dies, right? So it's challenging because of Jay, right? And I'm saying, Well, this is if everybody says we want to do what Big wanted, this is what Big wanted. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's nothing out of the ordinary. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, everybody seems to believe that they know what this dude wanted, and I knew verbatim what he wanted and how successful and where he wanted to go and how he wanted to help people and be supportive of people. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, at once upon a time, Big was going to utilize his brand, which was multi-millions, Mafia, Little Kim, multi-millions, to now set up Jay-Z, Charlie Baltimore, and Puff Daddy. You know what I'm saying? So, it's where's the return favor in all of this? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about anything but to his crew. You know what I'm saying? Because if the tables were turned, Big would have been like, make sure Tata is good, make sure Emery is good, make sure his mom, everybody's good. You know what I'm saying? Here's some verses for them, whatever I need to do to set them up. And I'm like, there's, like I said, now there's no Miss Wallace. Look at what Un's doing. Un's all up in the business, and Miss Wallace sending me a message like tone it down, and I'm like, nah, no more, no more. The truth, y'all gonna eat this truth. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna listen to. I'm gonna put a mirror in front of y'all, and y'all gonna listen. So.
I ain't know that. So Big, he was using the commission to break Jay.
He was, no, not just Jay. Like I said, Puff. He was gonna break Puff as an artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause Puff wanted to be an artist. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, "You're my artist." He was like, "I manage you." You know what I mean? So, and there's all of these rumors about Biggie was gonna leave Puffy, and Biggie was gonna deliver his albums to Puff. His mandate to me was make me just as relevant and just as much money and just as much freedom to do what I want to do with my shit as Puff. And so when the Commission album came up, there was a discussion between me and Dame about where it was going to go, whether it was going to go on Undeers or Roc-A-Fella, and Big and Jay decided that they was going to form their own label. That's what I know. You know what I'm saying? And I'm anybody else, they don't know because they weren't a part of his business life. You know what I'm saying? He was like, yo, me and Jay, we gonna start a label and we gonna put this Commission album through it. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, him and Jay they was like that. And you say, well, they was on the record together, Brooklyn's Finest, right? And I'm gonna tell people that by the time these dudes was rapping at Nas and rapping at this person and subliminally beefing with this person and fighting that person, both Jay and Big, right? By the time they battled each other, they were battling each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't they wasn't rapping at no one else. They was trying to one up each other on that record. You know what I'm saying? That's what really made Big like, yo, this dude could really hold his own. Like, he really could stand up. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that Biggie believing that Jay was better than him is bullshit. It's a fucking lie. It's a lie. It's a fucking lie. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how a person could even assume that from respect to I think he better than me. Hell no. Hell no. Big's target is all you niggas who started rapping. Not except you. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, Lil C's tried to cripple me. His own man. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, hell no.
I remember some years ago, Jay revealed that Big wanted him to move to Atlanta with him. You know anything about that?
Man, listen, man. Big's plan was for everybody to move to Atlanta. That was it was a part of the plan. When he came back from LA, which unfortunately he never did, right? It was a part of the plan. You know what I mean? Like I said, Big, Big talked to all of the people that he respected and gave them all of the things that me and him talked about. You know what I'm saying? And what his plans were, right? So if he said any of those things to anybody, anything that he's ever said to anybody as it pertained to, like I said, not outside of Bad Boy, because Bad Boy was Puff Daddy giving Mark Pitts and Wayne Burroughs orders to make sure that Big do this, because the real key is that when he was signed to Uptown Bad Boy, Puffy managed him and he was signed to his production company. By the time he did the Arista deal, it would have been a conflict of interest. You know what I'm saying? For him to still manage him. So he sent his interns to babysit Biggie. You know what I'm saying? And that was Mark, and he had his little cousin Wayne with him. And, you know, he babysat Biggie. You know what I'm saying? And you know, and all of them were dropped the ball when he got killed in LA. None of them is standing up and saying, "Yo, it's my fault because I didn't protect him." You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's yeah. He told everybody after the fact of what his plans were. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we was moving the whole operation to Atlanta. You know what I mean? Yep.
So Jay was telling the truth then.
Yeah. 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 This is why I'm sure that's, you know, all of a sudden, you know, after Big died, there's all of these fashion brands. Sean John, Roc-A-Fella. But Big was the first one in the space. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, y'all just taking the blueprint for real, and y'all just following the blueprint. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Jay tell you, Dame, all of these guys will tell you after Big died, Jay and them ran, Mark Pitts and all them brought Jay the Bad Boy. Give me them records that y'all have for Big new album. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I know what y'all was chasing. Y'all was, cause y'all, only thing y'all knew how to do was rap. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know nothing about how to, y'all was fucking marketing. Y'all wasn't even in the game when it came to marketing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we was responsible for y'all marketing. You know what I mean? So, and you could say however you want to say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, y'all put a logo on the Mercedes Benz. Hoorah. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, that was some local shit, bro. We was worldwide with our shit. You know what I mean? So,
And Big, he was coming out with that Brooklyn Mint clothing line, right? Dope ass name too.
yeah. You know what I mean? And it's gonna come back. You know what I mean? If I got something to do with it, um, you know, like I said, man, they did a horrible job about fulfilling this dude's dreams and ambitions and his wishes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's unfortunate, like I said, but now, you know, hopefully, you know, those guys are, you know, your fans are put enough pressure on them to, all right, y'all done did enough. You know what I'm saying? Let the kids do what they need to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and give Season, the Mafia, and Kim and them back they brand. You know what I'm saying? And let them move how they want to move, and you know, and not have to worry about, you know, other people saying, "Well, I want mine's off the top." Nah, it's over. It's over.
Why Big wanted to move to Atlanta?
I mean, he fell in love with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he understood, man, because you got to understand, man. And I tell people, you know, we were some kids from the streets, but we was, you know, we was hustling. We understood the rules of the streets. We understood, you know, the risk involved. When the music business happened, it was more risk involved. kidnappings, threats of violence, threats of all kinds of things that were real active threats. You know what I'm saying? And it was one of those things that, okay, it's time to get out of the environment. You know what I'm saying? Like not that we wanted to, you know what I'm saying, but it was the most dangerous, most violent of people. Like, what's up? We want in, and it's like, all right, we gonna defend this. You know what I mean? We're gonna protect this at all costs. So yeah, it was just the environment, change of environment. The houses, the property, the Southern hospitality, you know what I'm saying? Jermaine and them really kind of, you know, showed him a lot of love, you know what I'm saying? And Outkast and them, he was really feeling the South. Like he was really feeling it. Yeah.
I heard that Big he hid from Puffy that he was writing for Little Kim.
Um, well, Big didn't hide. You know what I'm saying? Like, that his job wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? So if there's anything when it comes to any assumptions of that, you know what I'm saying, you would probably blame me. And then I would probably blame Jacob York because he was really the person who was dealing with all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But, Big was just, you do what you do, I do what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Big was he was he was the dopest A&R genius. I'm talking about genius. You know what I'm saying? To the point where he showed me how to really be successful at it. You know what I'm saying? Because at one point Big passes away, and now I'm forced to, okay, what is Un gonna do? Right? And so what I do is what would Big do? Right? So in all my understanding and the teaching and the knowledge, I go and I put a record together called Ladies Night. And I go find a sample, I go find the producer, I go handpick all of the talent for the record. I shoot this amazing video and it works, right? And so even after that record, I'm still challenged with, well, what are you gonna do now? Right? And so fast forward to some of the things that clash with me and Cam, when Cam says a lot of things about about how maybe aggressive I was towards my vision of making Confessions of Fire versus his vision of making Confessions of Fire. Now, to some degree, Cam is correct, but I just want to make it clear that my only firmness with Cam at the time was, in order for you to sell records, you're going to have to make a single, right? And coming from where you come from and being the rapper who you are, you haven't really grasped the whole idea of what that means and what that takes, right? So, yes, you're doing an incredible job. You're an incredible job. I'm challenging you on me and Cam used to have this inside joke about his how he turns in a record or he raps some bars for me, and I give him these percentages on what I think that he was on the record. So he never really got to 100%. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, yo, you at 65%. Right? So it was like this mental challenge, right? But he was delivering incredible records. 357, all of these street records, that was what Biggie wanted to do to counter Puff, right? He was doing what he needed to do. But yo, bro, in order to sell units, right? Because if you Cam's and his whole team is frustrated because at the time Mason and them was going platinum and Mace doing 2 million albums. So he's assuming that I'm at least gonna go platinum, right? And it's like, but singles make you go platinum, right? So at some point, through these challenges of that's not a single, that's not a single, that's not a single. These are all dope street records. Yes, we're gonna put them out. We're gonna shoot videos at no cost to you. It's not gonna affect your budget because I'm gonna take it from the soundtrack budget. So none of this, all of these songs and videos that you putting out, it's at no recoupment to you, right? So I'm using what I know how to market and promote all of y'all together using this soundtrack money and all of these things, right? So all of a sudden I say, well, let me go back to how I was taught. So I go and I find the track masters, right? The producers. And I'm in the studio and I tell Tone, he plays me some tracks and I say, well, Tone, I don't believe you're a real producer. Produce something in front of me, right? So he starts to producing this record from scratch. And as he's producing the record, I say, yo, I got a hook for that. So I start singing My Horse and Carriage is for Hire, Senor. So now Cam goes in there, he does his verse, he does the hook, the shit comes out dope. Mace comes in the studio, hears the record and says, yo, I need to do that hook. So I'm like, man, first thing in my mind is I'm saying, I'm gonna have to go through Puff. I'm gonna have to hear his bullshit. I'm gonna have to figure out how to fucking manipulate him to let me get the video clearance and all of that. See, Mace tells a story about he told Cam that, yo, Cam, I want $50,000. Cam gets upset, but he tells Cam, yo, we can split the money. You know what I'm saying? Like they got the money and I didn't want to do it. And I'm saying, nah, that's not the case. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because back when we was at Undies, Puffy was giving me so many problems. Well, giving Biggie and me so many problems with clearance of him rapping with Junior Mafia, which was his group. He was rapping on everything Bad Boy, right? And then helping Puff with all his artists. So now when it comes down to him wanting to rap for his own artists, he want to give us a problem, right? So he gives us clearance on Players Anthem. He gives us clearance on Get Money. And when Crush on You comes up, he says you can't get video clearance. That's why Big's not in the video. He's only on the audio. But if Big had been in the video, it would have sold a gazillion albums, right? And I knew this because I was learning the business as I went along, right? So I'm saying by the time we get to Horse and Carriage, there's no way that I won't pay for Mace to be in the video. I just went through that with Horse and Carriage and know by him not being in the video, I lost a lot of money, right? So don't make that the excuse that didn't want to pay the money. It was I paid you 50 to be on the record. The video wouldn't have been you know what I'm saying? Because you would have sold Cam 1 million plus albums. You know what I'm saying? You would, because it would have maximized. And then to Cam's credit, Cam, for his next single, Cam was at gold, right? So we was trying to at least ship platinum, right? He had scanned the gold album by then, right? I think we was maybe shipped 700 by now. His next single was going to be with Usher, right? I was going to get Usher, who was at 5 million albums, to be in the video, right? I had already talked to L.A. Reid. It was all a go. Cam decides that he doesn't want to get on a plane to go to London because of his loyalty to Jim Jones, right? Because that's his man. And if Jim can't go, I'm not going. So Epic said, shut his album down and put him back in the studio. And he started making SD. You know what I'm saying? Now, they'll tell you we mad because we didn't go platinum. I just told you why you didn't go platinum or go platinum my way. You know what I'm saying? Like if y'all just had to just follow the blueprint, you know what I'm saying? Like I already had Mace cleared in the video for 357. He didn't rap on the record, but he was in the video. You see what I'm saying? He was at 2 million albums by then. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a lot of clarity that needs to be brought. And like I said, I'm gonna tell it on Full Street. I'm gonna go through the steps and you're gonna see in detail, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to Charli Baltimore. I would have, if Irv, God bless the dead, if Irv had a gave me that Ja Rule Ashanti record, Ja Rule Ashanti, Charli Baltimore, I would have sold at least 6 million albums worldwide on her. She was ready to go. She was already marketed worldwide. Germany was number one on top of the pops. You know, I went to Irv and said, yo, I just need a single. I done try everybody, the RZA, Puff, everybody. I couldn't get this find a single. And I didn't do it my way. I was doing it these other producers' way, right? So I never really went in and made my single on her, right? So when I decided to go to Irv, I said, yo, I need a single. Irv at the time was charging me $30,000 a track. I give him $15,000. Charlie goes to the studio with him. Next thing you know, I get a call. My lawyer calls me and said, Charli Baltimore wants off entertainment and she wants to sign to Murder Inc. And I say, you know what? Fuck it. Let it go. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm already in the hole. X amount of dollars. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's you know, and because her album didn't come out, allow her to keep getting these albums, right? Pharrell came to me when she was on entertainment and said, send it to the studio with me and I'm gonna do the whole album. The problem was is that he wanted one of his artists to write it. And it was a little homeboy from Philly, and she said no. And the next thing you know, wants to do all these pop records on me. And I'm saying, nah, Biggie just didn't really give me no plan on you. You know what I'm saying? I had a plan on, we had the plan on C's, which Puff, they couldn't execute because they didn't know the plan, right? So I'm hoping every Primo, her album had everybody on there, you know what I'm saying? Like as producers, you know what I'm saying? Like the Locks, Nori, Cam, every Ghostface, everybody was a part of this album. But you know, and the record probably did a lot more for Ja Rule than it did for Charli Baltimore. She would have sold 6 million albums if they had to gave me the single, you know what I'm saying? And you know, and like I said, after that, you can complain, you can say whatever you want to say, but you went from me to Irv to Scott Storch to tricking them, all credible people. None of them could make an album on you, but I'm the only unwanted me to be this and unwanted me to be that. And I'm saying, well, if you listen to Iggy Azalea, she got the same tone and cadence, and she's doing numbers. You know what I'm saying? On some pop shit. You know what I mean? So, nah, Nicki and them doing pop shit. The future was that. You know what I mean? So, nah, we gonna change some of this narrative. Like I said, let's just call it what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know when I interviewed Charlie Baltimore, she did tell me that she wasn't happy with the music that she came out with when she was on your label. And I do recall Cam, he made some comments about his first album, Confessions of Fire, saying that he don't perform songs from it.
Well, I mean, if he had performed records from Confession of Fire, he would have done a better job at the verses in Madison Square Garden. Because all of those records from Confession of Fire was number one records in New York City. I'm talking about huge. 357, Pull It, all of his records. The Dipset records, they were not New York records. They was out of town. If you had did this show in Ohio, you probably would have won. But you're in New York City and you don't play none of your New York City records. I would have started the record with Pull It. I'd have started the record with Pull It and then said, yeah, I'm rapping with y'all daddy, and then dropped the microphone off of Pull It and walked out the fucking garden. Because that record would have killed that building. And when you heard DMX growl, it would have been over. So, nah, you don't have to do those records. You don't have to turn up that energy like the Locks did. We in New York City. So, yeah, that's like fucking, you did it at the Tunnel. You did it at the Summer Jam when you ain't have no album out, when you was the number one record on Hot 97. All of these records that you don't care to do and how big they were to your career. Like, I don't care what anybody has to say. Yes, there was I Only Wanted a Single. That it is you are amazing on that album, bro. Your lyrics, your telling stories, clever bars. It has everything that a hip hop album should have. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you can make this and that, but you gonna learn how to make Old Boy. You gonna learn how to make a single. And that's what he did. He learned how to make a single. And then he goes and put all of this, what he learned from and put all that trauma on Jewels. You know what I'm saying? And push Jewels just as hard as I pushed him. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what happens. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I had no idea that she was behind Ladies Night. That's a classic, man.
Man, listen, man, I was involved with a lot of joints, bro. I produced a record on Jennifer Lopez's first album, this on the six. You know what I'm saying? Like I work with Aaliyah and you know, and I work with everybody, bro. Like my name is synonymous with new artists and hits. You know what I'm saying? I remember I did a song back then, and it was the only record on her album, but it was big. They sent me the album and they said, pick the song you think should be a single. The song is called 5 o'clock in the Morning by Nonchalant out of DC. And I shot the video I think I shot the video for like $40,000 back then. You know what I'm saying? But the record was huge for her. You know what I'm saying? It was the only one, but like I said, nah, man. I've done a lot. I've worked with a lot. I've done. You check my history. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, yeah.
And to go back to Cam, Big, he's the one that told you to sign Cam, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, he told me to sign him because, like I said, I don't know the story behind him and Mace and how much of Crush on You he wrote and any of those things, you know what I'm saying? But to set the record straight, neither one of them wrote Kim's verse. Biggie, Cam, or Mace. You know what I'm saying? They wrote Caesar's verse. They didn't write Biggie, they didn't write that hook. Big wrote that hook and did the hook himself. You know what I'm saying? It was all three verses because Big was good at it. He was setting C's up for his album. So three verses, it was a whole C song. It was supposed to be Caesar's first single. You know what I'm saying? Um, what happened was is that uh the Puff Daddy record on Little Kim No Time was not working. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it was, you know, Puff was supposed to be the man. Big got upset because Puff, now all of a sudden y'all want Puff. And I done broke her. I done did all this. Puff didn't want to sign her. Puff ain't want nothing to do with her. Puff want to be on the first single as if he's Biggie on his artwork and everything, to this horrible record sounding like he's Biggie. Like, and Big's like, so when the record wasn't working, Atlantic was like, what we gonna do? Big was like, yo, take that Crush on You record, put C's, put Kim, let Kim rap 2 8-bar verses and come up with an idea for the video. Big had an idea for Crush on You. Puff wouldn't let him do the video, so he got upset, you know what I'm saying? And that's what happened after that. You know what I'm saying? So not too long after Crush on You was blowing up, becoming huge, Hypnotized was blowing up, becoming huge, Big getting ready to drop a new album, and he ends up passing away. While all of this shit was going on, we were on top of the world. You know, at first, Puff didn't thought Kim was whack. He didn't think that she was good. You know what I'm saying? He didn't start paying attention to Kim. When he heard Players Anthem, he tried to steal a record for Total from Clark Kent. He was like, no, I want that shit for Total. He didn't really start feeling Kim until after Kim came out at the Apollo, because they did the Apollo and he only wanted to do Big's verse to get money. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Kim's doing her verse. And when Kim came out on stage, that shit went nuts. I mean, that Apollo went crazy. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? So it was after that, he was like, yo, I want to produce a record on her, and I want her first single. And Atlantic, they was riding, you know, Craig Calman, great guy, great A&R guy, but he knew Puff wasn't the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
The Get Money video. How did that come about? And I think Charli Baltimore, if I'm not mistaken, she was playing Faith in that, right?
well, I mean, you know, I've been back then, man, it was crazy. It was funny because there was this dynamic of 3 women that were in his life that all needed special treatment, all needed different things, all needed to be babysat a different way. You know what I'm saying? And I had to be in the middle of it because, like I said, I was the closest one to him, especially when it came to finance. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, make sure that motherfuckers is good type shit. You know what I'm saying? So if there was a you know, I need to make up, and, you know, some gift needs to show up, you know what I mean? But it was loving and it was traumatic and chaotic all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? It was 3 women who, you know, basically all loved the same guy for the same reasons. You know what I'm saying? Not for anything different, you know, for the same reasons, you know, and it was one of those things that, you know, as a man, you saying, if you got the balls to try to get away with this shit, then so be it. You know what I mean? But every day was something different, man. It inspired music. It motivated, you know, a lot of things came out of that. You know what I'm saying? And it built character. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you ask any one of them women, they'll all tell you, you know, they put some of him in their music. You know what I'm saying? Like all 3 of them put him and you know, wrote that part of their life. You know what's interesting is because when I first started running around shopping the Mafia, and like I said, I shopped the Mafia with Big as part of the group. there was a lot of pushback because I used the word sex symbol a lot in my pitch. And one of the persons who looked at me like I was crazy was Russell Simmons. And I said, nah, Big's gonna be a sex symbol. And he was like, this big, back, fat, ugly. And he was like, Heavy D's a sex symbol, right? And I said, but you'll never seen him around women. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been around him. He's charming and he's mesmerizing when it comes to these women. Something about him and these women. But they didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, well, you're gonna see it. You know what I mean? And it and the beautiful part about it, you could tell a real MC. And I equate it to um even though it was a movie, Eminem, when he battle rapped the guy, and
Eight Mile.
what he did was he said everything about himself before that person could say it, right? So now you take the funny out, you take the sting out of it because I'm the one who's making fun of myself, right? If there's a joke there. And Big was good at that by saying, fat and black and ugly as ever. However, right, he admitted to it. He said, I know y'all gonna say this about me, but let me clarify what comes along with that. However, I stay fly, I stay this, I stay that, I'm that, which made him authentic. You know what I'm saying? For you to, to accept your misgivings. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you gotta, you kind of got to live with that limp. You know what I'm saying? So accept it.
You being around Big, you knew all the plans he had. Is it any truth that he was working on an album with Fat Joe?
I I love Fat Joe, and Fat Joe is my guy. I love the Jada and Joe show, and I know why they're running with the Joe's the king of Cap. I'm gonna call Cap. I'm gonna call Cap without even knowing, right? Because I don't know for sure, right? But I'm calling Cap. I'm calling Cap. I'm calling Cap that they're, because I would have, if there was a real legitimate album, I would have heard about that, right? And I wouldn't have heard about them doing songs together, right? Because, in Daddy's house, in, all across Big going to studio, you could get a verse or you might not get a verse, depending on his mood and how much money you had in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a how much how much weed you got on you type shit. You know what I'm saying? But I call cap on Fat Joe. I hate the, show me the receipts. Show me the receipts, Fat Joe. Like I said, I don't know for sure, but I'm calling cap on that one. I hate to do it, Joe.
When did you and Big find out that Faith was messing around with Pop?
I mean, from my understanding and recollection, it was from the first time we heard Hit 'Em Up. You know what I'm saying? Like it was no rumblings, there was no conversation, Tupac was, they was after the Soul Train incident in LA, it sort of wasn't even in our mind really. Because we in New York, we were safe. This is our home, right? So there was no feeling, we had other feelings to be guarded against. Our own East Coast, we was guarding against that feeling, right? But nah, it was, from what I remember, it was the record that what? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what really, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about even to the point, this is what I tell people about um Big's competitiveness, right? Even though, you know, who shot us, uh, people, I'm glad people are really clarifying that record about it being about Pac, which it wasn't, right? But for clarity purposes, the records that he did come in his own, because I am a real MC, I live and breathe this, you know what I'm saying? Like he did, you know, if you know, if you know, Faith have she probably have Tupac's, you know what I'm saying, twins, you know what I'm saying? Uh 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 Leave your body twisted round and round, upside down. Like, yeah, those are for sure. Because I needed to whole list, because I can come at you. You know what I'm saying? Because it's what they do. You know what I mean? So um yeah, it's rap is rap. You know what I mean? And Big was competitive like that, bro.
So when y'all had that run in with Pac and Suge at the Soul Train Awards, what happened?
We went out there with the understanding that that could happen, right? Not knowing what was on Puff in her mind, but was on my mind that that encounter can happen, right? And um so our schedule moved us around in a way where under any circumstances that that encounter happened, here's the counter measure to that. So when we land in LA, we meet Puff and them at the hotel at the airport, and they say, okay, we're taking Big and you go wherever you going with everybody else. And I said, no, Big's coming with me. Let me know what time he has to be there, and we'll have him there. So, but our plan was is that directly after the show, we're gonna get in our limos and head straight to the airport and catch a flight because we were scheduled to do Greensboro for a show. So, you know, as the performance ends, you know, I'm sitting in the audience at this time. But we're surrounded by a bunch of death row niggas, Bloods and shit. You could tell, you know what I mean? Like you could tell we're surrounded. So, all right, we're gonna get out of this month as soon as Big come off the stage. So by the time we get off the stage and we go backstage, where the limos and all of the cars are pulling up, they got the whole outside of the back surrounded with Bloods, none but Bloods everywhere, right? So all of a sudden you see Suge and them pull in, Tupac in the Hummer. And, you know, from there, the story is the same. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else's story is sort of the same. You know what I'm saying? The only thing is that I did is I stood in front of Big, you know what I mean? Like, and was shocked at Suge, like, because it was really my first encounter of him. And, you know, I witnessed him, you know, telling motherfuckers, yo, he got a strap, he got a strap. And I was kind of like blown away, like, damn, you know, how we living, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to send us to jail in LA? Like, that's how we live it. So, you know, after, you know, that happened, we got in the cars and we sort of went about our way, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, I don't know how many months in between that and them having to go back to LA. I know we came back to New York and we got a lot of shit done, you know what I'm saying? Because Big was starting to work on his new album. Um, but I don't know the time period between that time and the death. But other than that, it was, we like I said, I'm still upset and a little shocked because of what we were going through back then, for them to not even be care about, especially coming from me about, yo, what do you think, happened, or what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And nobody's ever said anything, which is kind of like driving me to be able to tell my own version of the story.
What was Pac reaction?
I mean, he was just being Pac, man. You know what I'm saying? Like he was being the animated version, because I never personally met him. I was going to meet him the night of the studio incident. You know what I'm saying? Because I heard about him a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I was finally going to meet him. But he was just as animated, you know what I mean, from what you've seen in the past, you know what I'm saying? Spitting at the cameras and him, you know, just energetic and, sort of, this untamable energy. You know what I'm saying? The dude stepped out of the window of the Hummer. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how he didn't open the door. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have visions of him where he's hanging out the window at paparazzi, he came out of the window with that same energy. You know what I'm saying? And him and C's was going back and forth. And this is kind of how I knew Pac didn't really, because on site and I'm about that life is you come and let's start the melee. Right? Here goes some punches thrown like it's on. They sitting here clowning each other, him and C's. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, this is not real. You know what I mean? Like it did the energy, Pac's energy, because he could have went at C's. You know what I'm saying? He could have, if it was some physical shit, you know what I mean? You wouldn't have been worried about me standing in front of Big. You wouldn't have been worried about the nigga standing. You would have came with that energy, like, let's do it, let's get busy. And it wasn't that. It wasn't that. Like I said, Suge and them was bullies, bro. They was in state, man. No, no. They was not. I'm telling you, it for him to have died, you know what I'm saying? For him to have died is weird to me, bro. That's why I said it wasn't there. It had to be more to the story than, you know what I mean? Because I've never, even in me doing my research into the story and what I'm doing, them dudes they wasn't hunters. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't, I know what a hunter is. You know what I'm saying? Like for you to tell me that you hunted this dude and you plotted and you schemed and you finished your mission. Nah, that was more than what you guys was giving off. You guys didn't have that in y'all. From what I found out. You know what I mean? Like now there's people around y'all that had the ability and thought like that. You know what I'm saying? So, but nah, them Suge and Pac and all them dudes wasn't that, bro.
They say Puffy ran when he seen Pac and shit.
I mean, Puff always had nervous energy, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what people expect from Puff. Like why are people shocked that he's going through what he's going through and the life that he led? You know what I'm saying? Like his whole character, his whole aura was that. You know what I mean? Like so. Like I said, man, my beef with Puff is that nah, you ain't do nobody, you ain't do the people that helped you benefit, right? You ain't do right by them. You know what I'm saying? All of the people that that went back to the Lord went back suffering. They were never none of them died in peace. Andre, have the people at the college, You know what I'm saying? They all died suffering and miserable pain. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, you ain't, no, hell no. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like I said, I'm not bitter about none of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just bitter about, that you fooled people for so long. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I would have been having this conversation, but Miss Wallace prevented me from having it. You know what I mean? So now the handcuffs is off. You know what I'm saying? I don't respect y'all. You know what I'm saying? I don't respect y'all. I don't respect what you do. I don't respect how you got to where you at. I don't respect it. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't help nobody. You helped yourself. You know what I'm saying? You bled and you manipulated, and then on top of it, you motherfuckers made people believe that other people were the bad guys. And it's not the case. Cause like I said, there is no way. And if you could take the rest that you could the Mafia, there's no way. There's no way the motherfucker shouldn't be 100 million up. C's included. Like you, man, man, that. That. Nah, I ain't sitting back no more. I ain't chilling no more. You used them. You used them when Biggie died. You needed them to go on the bad. He couldn't have did a bad boy tour without Kim and C's. While the world was in mourning. He couldn't have went out there and said, yo, I miss my man Big, and not have C's and Kim right there to remind them that Big is still in the building. You know what I'm saying? You use them up and then spit them out. No longer. No, and then you have the ability. You can still, the reason why Big right now would be using them. He'd be saying, here go $500,000 for you, here go $1,000,000 for you, here go this for you. We gonna keep getting this money together. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man, they wanna steal the money and then they wanna be like, all right, don't answer their phone call. No, I'm not here. No, 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 I'm not here. You know what I'm saying? Like, how dare you?
Yeah, that's some real talk, man. Do you remember Big reaction when Pac got killed?
I mean, it was, it was, it was, it was like he said, um, unbelievable. He said it out his own mouth. You know what I'm saying? He was like, again, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he gonna get through that. You know what I'm saying? But he was distraught by it because, like I said, you can't have a relationship with a person and then they die and they died and y'all relationship wasn't fixed based on a lie. You know what I'm saying? Based on some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can imagine what he was going through. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, that's why I take the credit. I came up with the hook. You're nobody till somebody kills you. I heard it in my sleep, and I told it to him. You know what I'm saying? And I said it to him. I didn't in a word in a song structure or nothing. I just heard the words, and and that's what I and but it was I thought about Pac when I heard it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the song he made to in reference to Tupac that people don't know. You know what I'm saying? You're nobody till somebody kills you. You know what I'm saying? And that's really how he felt. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, so now all of a sudden you guys, it's like Nip. You know what I'm saying? It's like now all of a sudden, Pop Smoke, now all of a sudden you get to, oh man, this kid was dope. And I'm guilty of it as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm guilty of
No,
it.
no, no. Wait. Flag on play. Flag on play. Flag on play. No, no. I mean, if we looking at that, I mean, Me Against the World did go platinum when he was in prison. All Eyes on Me was like at 6 times platinum when he was actually still alive. So
Yeah,
I'm
but
not.
I'm not talking about whether people knew him or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the compassion that you have for him now. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the not the brilliance of the artist. I'm talking about now all of a sudden he's before when he was alive, he was this, oh, he's this, he's that. You see what I'm saying? He's this menace to society. You see what I'm saying? So now when a person dies, now it's all of a sudden he's a poet. He's, like how you said, flag on the plate, and it's just a misinterpretation of what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? Now, it's never been about, like I tell people, somebody said it about me, like, what are you talking about? Jay-Z was sold 5 million albums. By the time, what was it? His next album came out. And I'm saying, nah, I'm not telling you that he didn't sell a lot of records. But you know, and I know, and anybody who knows about the music business knows that there's more in it to just selling records, right? You could sell 10 million records and then come back and do pumps in the bump. You know what I'm saying? Like you could, you know what I mean? Like you could really not do anything on your sophomore album. You see what I'm saying? Like, or what you're projected to probably do. You know what I mean? So there's no guarantees unless you got, oh, he just died. So now all of a sudden, yeah, you're going to sell a lot of records. You know what I'm saying? But what if you didn't die? You didn't have any marketing behind it. You see what I'm saying? And that's the thing that I'm talking about. It's like, yo, unfortunately, that these kids get found out that they're talented. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that they'll never get found out about, but you say, oh, they really dope. And like I said, I'm guilty of it too. Nip, Mac Miller, it's a lot of people. I'm like, oh, these dudes was dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, you know what I mean? You don't find out until after they gone. You know what I'm saying? That's why Big said you're nobody till somebody kills you.
LA, I want to talk to you about that. Is there any truth that Big he didn't want to go to LA?
I mean, I wish people would stop misconstruing what was going on at the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, Big he was loyal to Puff to a fault. You know what I'm saying? He understood what he was up against at the time because he's from New York. He's from Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? His man got killed for a drug deal going bad. His niggas around him getting robbed. He done got stuck up before. So he understands the level of whether I'm safe or not, right? But he relied on Puff Daddy to make him safe, right? Because at this time, there's money, there's security, there should be, he feels like he's gonna be protected like unprotected me in LA, right? So he took me out of it. I was gonna go. I was gonna pack everybody up, but he was like, we in the middle of promoting Kim's album. You need to be here. And I'm like, yeah, you right. So he's like, yo, I'm just going out here to do this work. I'm going to stay inside. I'm going to keep a low profile. D-Rock was like, I'm home now. I got him. He just came home from jail. I'm saying, all right, so he got D-Rock. D-Rock's gonna make sure he come home, right? He's street, he's, whatever. And now all of a sudden, he don't come home. You know what I'm saying? But people want you to believe that, oh man, we was out there partying and oh man, we was out. No, y'all was young and y'all was high every day and all y'all used to do is roll blunts and go get bitches and drink and start all over the next day. You didn't know what he did for business. You didn't know what he did when he called home and what his concerns were. And mine's was always safety. Mine's was always, he promised me he was not going out to that party. He was going to get on a plane to go to London. 3 hours later, I get a call that he's dead. So I'm like, can't nobody tell me what his state of mind was because I'm his partner, right? We're setting up, he wants to throw a huge party for Little Kim and the Mafia, you know what I'm saying, for selling records. He wants it to be nice. And I'm saying, y'all don't understand what was going on back then. Because like I said, it was a lot of trauma after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, it was nah, you can't, he was not in a comfortable space. I'm not out in the streets. You see what I'm saying? I guarantee you if you ask anybody about that trip, you say, well, how many parties did he go out to when he was there? And they'll probably say, just that one. You see what I'm saying? But apparently he was out there a month or whatever time he was out there. You know what I'm saying? So if you're telling me that was his mindset, why only one party in LA? Nah, he was moving around from hotel to hotel, importing people. Charlie Baltimore knows people. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah. Like I said, people were young, people were confused.
Yeah, a lot of people don't get why he would go to LA so soon after Tupac murder.
I mean, we all felt that way. You ask Puff Daddy.
You personally, who do you put the blame on when it comes to Big murder?
Um, well, I would have to 100% put all of the, and I'm not gonna say that his death. I'm gonna put all of his safety concerns on Damien, D-Rock, and Puff Daddy. You know what I'm saying? Because Damien had the ability to tell him, no, we not moving like that. No, we not doing it like that because I don't feel safe. Now, if you telling me Damien says in the interview that, oh man, I felt safe and I felt, you know what I mean? Like, then okay, that's another story. But nah, Puff, there's no way. There's no way that all of the gunmen security should be surrounding you. There's no way. There's no way for you to justify that unless you understand that they want to kill you. Right? Then it's justifiable. And you're like, okay, I don't think that they would do this to this guy. But, we can't get you, we get your man. That happens every day in real life.
Unfortunate, man. Sad situation, man. I want to talk to you about the Horse and Carriage remix. How did that come about? You had a lot of rappers on there, like Big Pun, Silk the Shocker. A lot of people was on that, man.
The only story behind that is that at the time Master P was on fucking fire. You know what I'm saying? Like he was on fire. And then Silk the Shocker was on fire. And what the only story that I could remember is that people were like, how did you get him? You know what I'm saying? How did you get Master P to let go his prodigal son? Like, and I said, I've had that conversation from uh L.A. Reid when he said, how do I let you get away with using my artist from TLC who's at 10 million albums twice and put her on a brand new artist's album, then come right back and get Usher on a brand new artist's album. You know what I'm saying? And Lior said, how the hell do you keep getting away with this? Clive Davis said, how the hell is Biggie selling all these records for Atlantic and we're not benefiting from it? Who's doing this? And it's little old me. You know what I'm saying? It's me. I'm getting away with it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that was one of my great and still is one of my greatest assets. You know what I'm saying? Is that I am talent friendly. You see what I'm saying? And that's what these people don't have. They don't have, they're not friendly. They're abusers of talent. You know what I'm saying? And then they come in and they say, Un's the bad guy. Don't trust Un. Un's stealing. Un's doing all this. Nah, when you see the whole entire story, you'll see Un only got one check here and Un only got one check there ever in the whole entire music business. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you tell me how the f is Un doing all of these up things against you. And I'm saying, don't do it. Don't go over there. Cam, you know, I want to be honest. Okay, you're out of the entertainment deal, right? So now, guess what? You're now right? So now you're partners with a machine, which is Epic, right? So now you could get 50%, Epic could get 50%. Nah, but Dame convinces you that the best deal is to come to Def Jam, and Def Jam gives a percentage to their distributor. Roc-A-Fella gives a percentage to Def Jam, and then now you're getting half of 25%. You have 50% of 12.5%. How is that a great deal in business and you learn so much business? It's a bad fucking deal. When you had a machine and, oh, they fucking my shit up. Why didn't you just go up to Epic and do what everybody else did? Sell records. Just use them to take all your marketing, just fund my shit and stay out of my business. You had the ability to do that, but you decided to give away Dipset, Oh Boy, and all of that for 50% of 12.5%. It's not a good deal. It wasn't a good deal. And stop saying Un gave you a bad deal. When you became Un, you were bigger than Dame. You had a better deal than Jay. You had a better deal than all of them when you replaced me at Epic. But the thing is, you say what you want. I still own 50% of Confessions of Fire and SDE. Those are my masters. I'll just, that's the work that I did. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm coming back for all of the shit that I put in work for.
Speaking of Dame, how you feel about the financial situation he in right now?
I think that Jay-Z, again, I hate to keep bringing your name up, but I think it's some sucker shit. I think it was some sucker shit when they excluded him from the history of who he is and Roc-A-Fella and that Brooklyn Museum. I think it's unjust. You know what I'm saying? I think that regardless to whatever, yeah, Dame got his money. He probably did some, some things that he did with his money that was, you know what I'm saying? But nah, he not supposed to be in the situation that he's in. You know what I mean? And I'm not telling you, I don't know what happened. I do know that there's other people in your life you might want to hold DeHaven responsible. Like I told DeHaven personally, I said maybe it's because you might have wanted to harm Jay-Z physically, that he don't fuck with you. I don't think that that's the case with him and Dame. I don't think he slept with his wife. I don't think he disrespected his mama, his kids. So I don't think I think that somebody manipulated him into the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? But nah, I think it's some sucker shit, bro. You know what I mean? Like that's not you can't you can't be the godfather of my kids. I can't have helped you because he has to know that Dame was is helped him. You know what I mean? I don't give Dame the credit and all of the credit. I say I did a job, Big did a job, right? And I equate them to me and Big. And I know that Big would have never, I don't care what, he would have never left me in the position that Jay has left Dame in. You know what I'm saying? He would have never done it. And that's why I said niggas ain't honorable. Niggas talk that honorable shit. Niggas talk that shit. You know what I mean? Like, nah, B. Like, and if everybody who wants to come out and speak on his behalf, don't do it because he's not gonna take care of you. They're not gonna help you in any kind of way defending them anymore. They've done it. They've shown who they are. We in it for ourselves, just like the guy coming for the estate. Like, will you want more? How do you want more? How do you want more? How do you want to suppress the kids more? How do you want to suppress faith more? How do you want to suppress the mafia more? Y'all keep it moving, B. Keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? The hood suffered behind y'all. The hood's supposed to be way up, especially Big's hood. They supposed to be way up. Marcy, you supposed to be way up. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah. Yeah, they homeboys might be giving back. Certain niggas, few niggas got jobs and shit here. Nah, but nah, it's nah. Hell no.
And if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you actually admitted that you played a part in Dame downfall, right?
Well, what I did was, you know, and I do what they do. You know what I'm saying? Um, it was brought to my attention that, you know, Stout was publicly talking smack about me publicly, uh, about the past, and you know, so I said, okay, you know, so I purposely sick Dame on him through the Vlad interview. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, you know, now deal with Dame's bark. you you're welcome, Stout. But don't play with me, cause I'm gonna play back. All you niggas, y'all play with me, I'm gonna play back. And y'all don't wanna be the playback. Y'all been name dropping me forever in records. Nas, that's my guy. You know what I mean? But Nas, tell people where Ether came from. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
You played a part in that.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. Watch this series, Full Street. You'll see.
You and Steve Stout cool now, right?
We've always it's always been competitive. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, these dudes have we broke bread, we got money together. You know what I'm saying? Like they feel like they crushed my career and they did it on purpose and they buried me. And I say that I helped y'all get to where y'all at. You know, everybody has their version of the story. But I'm going to tell the story. Like there's this thing about bootlegging, and I'm going to show you where it started. We're going to start at the Trackmaster's office, and then we're going to follow the whole storyline. And we know who the Trackmasters was: Steve Stout, Poke and Tone. So that's, you know, we're going to, y'all want to play dirty, we going to play dirty.
And speaking of that, right? People name dropping you and Jay. It's been said that Jay he stabbed you, and he even got arrested over that incident, right?
I mean, I said it one time, you know, that I, I didn't get stabbed by Jay, right? So we're gonna start there, and um, like I said, if you weren't in the room, you see what I'm saying? Because I could say that me and Jay got into it over Cam. You see what I'm saying? Like, and I'll just give you one scenario. One day, I think Dame might have touched on it. One day, Dame comes to the studio, the Hit Factory, and Cam and them, Mace and all of them are in the studio, and they play the interlude record called F You. And they like, it's called F You, and they doing it to Dame, right? So Dame leaves out and he comes back and he has Jay-Z, Big, and Tata. And, whatever escalated from there, I can say, well, that was Cam. Why y'all came to see me? Because Cam is in here playing F You to Dame, right? So there's a bunch of things and finger pointing that I could say on how I thought, the where the beef started. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could have been over a bunch of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I said, I paid Jay-Z to rap on a record and diss me on a record. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
So what was it over? The confrontation y'all had? Because he didn't stab you, but like you said, y'all did have a little confrontation or whatever.
It was a bunch of it was a bunch of things that escalated. You know what I'm saying? It was a bunch of things that escalated. Um, one being bootlegging. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the things being bootlegging. One of the things being women. One of the things being money. One of the things being um, you know, uh, uh, who's, and one of the things being, I need this because I'm trying to sell records. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all of the above. You know what I mean? But like I said, I'm just gonna put it in context. You know what I mean? Like, there's a story, but you're just gonna have to fucking pay attention to the story. You're gonna have to tune in, and like I said, I had um I had made a quote. I posted something on Instagram, and it said, I quoted him by saying, I'm not trying to make you the butt of my joke. I'm just trying to increase my quote. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by all of the stuff that I'm saying. Like, the same way you meant it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll flip it on you. Sorry, Lance. Not trying to make you the butt of my joke. I'm just trying to increase my quote. Dear Summer is the record, right? That's all I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, this is not personal. This ain't got nothing to do with nothing. This is just me trying to increase my quote. That's it.
Let me ask you this: would this woman happen to be Charlie Baltimore?
You can add her to the list. Absolutely. Remember, she was going to be in a commission.
Since you brought up Dame, from your point of view, where do you think it went wrong for Dame?
Um, but my honest opinion is that Dame had unloyal partners. The reason why he's in the position that he's in. You know what I'm saying? Like most of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could say the same thing. The only partner that I had was loyal was Biggie. You know what I'm saying? And it's only a certain few, respect to my family, Queen Latifah and Shakim. You know what I'm saying? That loyalty is unmatched. You know what I'm saying? Respect. I don't know what happened with James Lasseter and Will Smith. You know what I'm saying? But those kind of started here and we're gonna die and end here. Relationships that whether we win or lose, that's what's important to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a LeBron James, Kobe Bryant conversation. You know what I'm saying? But you got to give Kobe the edge, though. You know what I'm saying? Of his loyalty to winning with where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan, his loyalty to winning where I'm at. Yeah, you can go LeBron and win, but where's your loyalty? You see what I'm saying? Like, don't come in and get all of these accolades on our backs and then, come back next year and beat us. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you done changed teams. You know what I mean? So where's the loyalty? And I think that that's where Dame's biggest downfall came from, is that nobody was loyal to him. You know what I'm saying? Like Lior wasn't loyal to him. Jay wasn't loyal to him. Kanye, you could say what you want, but you weren't really loyal to him. Because if all of these dudes had stood and backed him, Kim had stood with me, and the Mafia had stood with me, and Cam had stood with me, their masters would be, right now we'll be giving, we'll be splitting the money from the masters. You know what I'm saying? Because I owned them along with Biggie. We owned the masters. Like, the way y'all went in and said, okay, let them take the masters back with y'all help. You see what I'm saying? If Jay helped them take James Masters, you see what I'm saying? And he benefited, but his loyalty wasn't to Dame. You see what I'm saying? And I knew it from the beginning, because I'm like, man, this is some Harlem, Brooklyn shit. This is not gonna work. You know what I mean? I went through it. I'm Brooklyn, Cam's Harlem. I know who Cam's gonna be loyal to. And like I said, it's not even a loyalty thing, it's a bubble thing. You know what I'm saying? It's been embedded in us since we were children. You know what I'm saying? Like Brooklyn, Harlem, Queens, we're all different bubbles. New York City, one thing. In the prison system, we're all New York. But in New York City, what bubble do you rep? And Harlem just, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a bunch of things that, you know what I mean? Like what happened to Dame. Disloyalty, fucking sucker shit. You know what I'm saying? It's all sucker shit, bro. I don't care how you spin it. It's all sucker shit, man. It's all sucker shit. Cause and imagine if we were Columbine crazy, Postal crazy, guys like us. You know what I'm saying? Guys like Suge, you give Suge 100 million, now you put him in jail to rot. Guys like Puff, you give him $1 billion and you want to put him in jail to rot. Jay, they will put you in jail to rot. You know what I'm saying? Like, they will Bill Cosby your ass. They will Harvey Weinstein you. They will do all kinds of shit to you if you do not find the right loyalty. Because all motherfuckers had to do was say, nah, we riding, we riding. Big used whatever unwant, whatever unsay. Because Big was saying it. Me and him have a conversation. All right, here go them play. What we doing? Nah, we ain't going that way. Nah, you don't like this idea for this video? Nah, you don't like this idea for this video? What about this crush on you video? Oh yeah, I love that, All right, that's the one we going with. There's a conversation, and I'm sure that there's multiple Jay-Z, Big, and Dame conversations, multi-million conversations, how to move shit, how to do this, how to do that, and no loyalty, bro. No loyalty, no loyalty. All they had to do was say, nah, I'm riding with Dame on this. Cam, all he had to do was say, well, y'all not gonna get another record out of me if y'all get rid of Un. Guess what they would have did? Well, you can't. Miss Wallace, Kim, all y'all had to do was say to Atlantic, Un's not going anywhere. Yeah, but we got Puff Daddy. But Puff Daddy's fucking all the money up. Puff's stealing all of the money. He's not giving you records. He's not doing what he's supposed to. But you want to go with Puff. So you reap what you sow. But now we're going to clean it up. We're going to get it right. We're going to get it right. We're going to get it right.
Let me ask you this: is there any truth that Biggie was planning on leaving Bad Boy?
No. I mean, he was already gone. You know what I mean? Like I said, he was gonna deliver his albums. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what his goal was. He was gonna deliver those albums that he was committed to doing. You know what I'm saying? But his loyalty was to Puff. Like I said, he was loyal. You know what I mean? He wasn't gonna abandon Puff. And even like I said, he started a label with me. He was gonna start a label with Jay. You know what I'm saying? He probably would have, he would have he wanted, Kim got her label because I gave it to her. This was what he was into, bro. He was into helping people. You know what I'm saying? So he would have did what he did for Puff and stay loyal, but he was gonna help other people. You know what I'm saying? So nah, he didn't have plans, yo, I'm out of here. I want to be out of here. I want to be off the label. No, no. Well, like I said, he might have had a conversation with someone else about that. With me, I know what business he was into. The only label and moving and doing anything else was the commission album was up next. And he was gonna start a label with him and Jay-Z.
Why you wasn't in the movie Notorious?
Because Puff and them wanted to steal all the glory and the money. Puff and his interns, Mark Pitts and Wayne Burroughs. I'm gonna keep calling them dudes interns because I don't know what the hell them niggas do. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what they talent. Mark might have a good R&B ear, but other than that,
What you think about Gene Deal?
I think that Gene is one of the guys who has kept the flame to these weirdos' asses for as long as he's been doing it. You know what I'm saying? And I commend Gene Deal. And people think that Gene Deal is full of shit. And Gene Deal is not full of shit. Gene might have some stuff, some times and some dates and shit moved around and changed around, but he ain't no crackpot. You know what I'm saying? People might say that, but like I said, back, especially on the topic that he's speaking about, people need to understand that during that time, it was a fog, it was a haze, right? We're on top, like money, women, power, respect. And then all of a sudden, it crashes down by Big dying, right? So now everybody's living traumatically. So now it's one big fog, right? So as things start to come back to you and people start to talk and bring back your recollection of things, you start to seeing things and it starts to become clearer, but it just ain't coming out the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because, and I tell people all the time, if somebody's talking to you and they're trying to remind you of something and you just can't remember it, that means that you weren't there. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much, you remember and you like, I think I've sort of, no, if you can't remember, you weren't there. No matter how much a person try to force you into it. Now, trauma, it comes and you be like, oh shit, I was there. And this is what made me have the trauma. Right? So nah, Gene Deal and it's I'm glad, right? Because like people say, oh, Miss Wallace wanted him to tone it down. Nah, man. Miss Wallace wanted truth. She wanted justice. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully she got the truth about Puff's character, right? Um, but she wants the truth about her son, and it's still unanswered. And if Gene, if nobody else is going to do it, why not Gene? Why not Gene? Listen, man, take me to court. Charge me with sue, put out a cease and desist on me. Like I said, I wanna go into a courtroom. I want to tell my version because I want you to tell your version. You know what I'm saying? And if your version doesn't match up with mine, that means that part ain't gonna add up. You know what I'm saying? So that's where people was mad about me because I'm like, nah. I'm gonna lay it out. I'm gonna lay out the whole story, and you tell me. You tell me, because like I said, everybody's got their own version of things. And I'm saying, man, listen, man. I started with how f***ed up they doing the estate and faith. And then I tried to articulate some of the things that, all right, let me introduce some of these people into Biggie's life. Because other than that, y'all confused. None of that, like I said, it's you you're gonna hear everything that you've ever heard, but now you're gonna hear it in context and you're gonna hear 100% the truth. Because it's gonna be the first piece of content that you ever heard Biggie's voice. You know what I'm saying? Everything you've ever heard or seen was somebody else's perspective. Fulton Street is gonna be Biggie's voice, me and Biggie. And because I wasn't talking to nobody else as it pertains to what we were doing. You see what I'm saying? I was relaying that we was talking about to get the job done, but the initial conversations came from me and him. Strategies, what our vision was, what we thought, what we should do next. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we had Caesar's whole first album laid out. They chose to go the route that they went. You know what I'm saying? They chose to follow Puff. Until this day, 25 years later, out of all of Puff's catalog, the only record that he could use to break his son Christian is Crush on You, and use the same video that I directed. So you want to use my record and the video to break your son. Why you didn't use any of the records that you claim to have became a billionaire off of? Cause I'm here for the long haul. I'm gonna be here when all of them dudes is gone and dead. All my content is gonna be here forever. All the music, like I said, put my records up against Bad Boys and see who still resonates today. He might have one Benjamins. You know what I'm saying? Maybe in the club, Benjamins might still be in it. You know what I'm saying? But I got several. But you could, my videos, all right, who are they still chasing? Little Kim's image or someone else's?
Little Kim.
That's me. I'm responsible for that. Man, bro, I told Kim to squat down and put that post out.
How did that come about? You telling her that? Take me through that.
I mean, I came into the room and I looked at the photos from the photo shoot and I was like, yo, I just need you to do one other pose. Just squat down. And when she did it, he took the photo and I said, yep, that's the one right there. It's that simple. That's what I did back then, bro. That's what my gift is. Like, I could look at you and be like, okay, you're going to be this. Nah, Biggie, you ain't going to be that. You going to dress like this. There's this nigga on the corner that go hand in hand. There's a nigga that's in the bodega that sell weight, but there's a nigga who brings all that weight to this bodega. That's who we are. You know what I'm saying? That's who we dress like. That's who we emulate. We live that life. We don't live this life. Cause Puff was given his real image. And I'm saying, nah, your music is bigger than that. Get in this Lear jet and this hair helicopters and you know what I'm saying? Like that was the first video I did. You know what I mean? Like, Nah, B. We balling out for real. Cause we really living like this. We really living like this. We ain't faking. I knew Aaliyah. Aaliyah was on Junior Mafia's first album. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was one of the first people to interact in the music business and make her a part of something outside of what everybody else was doing. You know what I'm saying? We all became family early. You know what I'm saying? So, and this was Big was still alive. Like she was a part of, she was a mafia. Like she was wearing a jersey and throwing up the mafia sign and everything. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Back then in real time, was it known that R. Kelly he was messing around with Aaliyah while she was underage?
Um, I'ma keep it all the way honest. I'm gonna keep it all the way honest. Back then, when I met Aaliyah, I didn't know R. Kelly. I never met R. Kelly. I know he was on Big's album, right? I never met him, right? Um, but back then, there was really no noise about R. Kelly and Aaliyah and underage and um, you know, he's older than her and there might have been industry um chatter, you know what I'm saying? But it was nothing that registered to me back then. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was around her, R. Kelly wasn't nowhere around. You know what I'm saying? It was her mom's and it was Barry Hankerson and them and her family. You know what I'm saying? So that wasn't the energy. You know what I mean? So I can't say how I felt about them and about Jay doing a record with or album with R. Kelly. R. Kelly was he was huge. He was big. He was he did records with Kim. He did records with Biggie. Like it wasn't he wasn't. I think that all came when they started trying to tear him down. You know what I'm saying? Like from what I understand is that it's like with all of these weirdos. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all motherfuckers know these motherfuckers is weirdos and y'all keep them in a closet and keep it all hid until it benefits you or they don't do what y'all want to do. Now y'all want to expose all they bullshit, right? Puff been doing this shit, what he been doing, right? So now all of a sudden it's a problem. You know what I mean? So it's all of you complying with this weirdo shit. And then now all of a sudden when niggas don't want to be loyal no more, y'all want to assassinate niggas. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what happened. You know what I mean? Like you didn't start hearing about this shit with R. Kelly or really hearing about R. Kelly Aaliyah until they put out the peeing video. You know what I'm saying? Like, look how much he's accomplished since before the peeing video. You know what I mean? So yeah, they let it rock, you know what I mean? But it went unnoticed. Because it could have been news from the first time they came in. Why wasn't it front page news? Like, hey, there's an age difference and marriage certificate and all of this come out then. That shit didn't come out. It didn't even come out. Um, you know, now it seems kind of now that we're talking about it, it didn't really start coming out till he had a problem with Jay-Z.
So you was there the night of the quad situation. Can you break that down from your point of view? I had no idea you was there. That's crazy, bro.
Well, I mean, Quad was interesting because it was um it was a celebration at the time, man. We just got the deal, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody was in a great space, everybody was in a good mood. But like I said, at the time, the streets came in the music business at the same time. You know, I'm talking about when I came into the music business, when we got into the music business. The streets was over in terms of hustling. There was a lot of money at stake. So the streets came in with us, right? Um, Pac was running around New York with with sort of like soaking it all in and gradually embracing the culture of what was going on. He'd been all over the place, all over the country. So now you're in New York and now you done got some of this New York swag in you. But that has nothing to do with what transpired. What transpired was, unfortunately, whatever off screen you went through, by the time you brought it into the music business, which the streets is in the music business, you're going to meet some street music business guys. You know what I'm saying? Um, and unfortunately, what happens to you happens to you. And unfortunately, we were in the same building, right? Okay, it happened. Um, the sad part about it is because we sort of got jumbled into the building. You know what I'm saying? So I'm assuming that, if I see this guy or I see that guy, oh, that means that y'all all up in there. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to have this problem about, yo, why do I have this fucked up reputation in the music business? Like, this, I'm trying to do all of the right things so whatever I did in the street wouldn't follow me. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, yeah, but it's people that's around you and oh, of course, that's his homeboy. You had something to do with it. You know what I'm saying? And that never really set well with me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, like my thing is if you got beef with a nigga, you go see that person. You know what I'm saying? You don't send nobody to do it. You know what I mean? You go handle your business. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, if you're not living like that, then I ain't respecting you. You know what I'm saying? Every gangster or street nigga I ever got into it, I'm like, yo, bro, like, nah, let it be our decision, me and your decision. Man, let it be our whether we live or die, not somebody else family suffering. You know what I'm saying? Based on because me and you made some calls while we were sleeping. You know what I'm saying? And now a bunch of other people's tragically going through some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Because that you don't get no respect from that, bro. Put in your own fucking work. Because if you go to that penitentiary, you're going to have to put in your own work. You know what I mean? Period. I ain't no ifs, ands, or buts.
So how did Big feel about that when, the whole quad situation happened?
I mean, he was upset about it, man. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, it wasn't, he was a good guy, man. You know what I mean? Like Big wanted everything. He wanted the best for everybody, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially somebody that he calls his friend and embraces them, you know what I'm saying? And be like, yo, my nigga, I'm willing to do things for you. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he was in Jay's first video. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not on the song, but I'm gonna come support you. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, that's what kind of guy he was. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I said, it's unfortunate that Tupac just took it because at some point you can't really say, because he's on record saying, "Oh, we can do this for charity and get money together," right? So you can't make that statement if you thought that this was really some shit. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, it didn't happen. That let's get this back together. Let's do something together so we can take me and you out of the mix. You know what I'm saying? Because it's really Suge and Puff's mix. You know what I'm saying? And we just caught up in the whirlwind of it. You know what I mean? They was just two young artists, two young kids as artists, and somebody decides to say it was easier. One was more impressionable than the other. You know what I'm saying? So, cause Big, somebody could have thrown gasoline on Big and been like, "That, go after this nigga, yo, da 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 da." Big was like, "Nah, I'm chilling." Sugar and them was like, "That, go after the nigga. You sure? Go after the nigga. All right, I'm gonna fuck his wife." Right? You could tell one person was more impressionable. You see what I'm saying? Like, nah, no, no, no. Fuck his wife, but don't tell nobody you fucked his wife. You know what I mean? Keep that shit to yourself. Have one up on him. Nah, you want to put it on record. Whether it's true or not, the only person who knows is Faith. Everybody else is speculating. I mean, if you wasn't in the room, you can't say that Tupac fucked Biggie's wife. You can't say it. You're not gonna ever catch me liable for anything. Any interview that I do, all my shit, they do not want me at a deposition with them. Cause I'm gonna be like, all right now, cause we're gonna go back to the further than that. And we're gonna get to the bottom of this shit. You know what I mean? Cause it's about the lie. Long as you ain't lying, you know what I mean? You can say what the you want to say.
Do you feel like you was blackballed?
Yeah, they did a good job. They did a good music business. And like I said, they couldn't have done anything against me in the music business because my education was they weren't even in the music business. You know what I'm saying? Like when I learned the music business, none of these the Roc-A-Fella, Rough Riders, Death Row, none of these niggas existed. I was studying Walter Yetnikoff and Geffen and Tommy Mottola and Clive Davis, the people who ran the music business. You know what I'm saying? So I made it, based on my abilities. You know what I'm saying? And it was all about the music. No matter what, I don't care. But I had gotten to the point where, see, there was a point in the music business where it all itself up, right? Where at one point, 75,000 albums to the record company, that was a lot of fucking money, right? Because remember, at one point they was getting $18.99 per album, right? So at some point, that was a lot of money, right? But then at some point, the number rap started selling 200,000 the first week. They even pushed it to 1,000,000 albums the first week on a rap album, right? If I had kept the mentality that chasing the 1,000,000 albums because the music business says if you don't sell more than this amount of albums the first week, you're considered a flop, right? But to the business, I could have just been putting out 75,000 albums every week and been still in the music business today because I would have been doing the cash flow repetitively. You understand what I'm saying? And I got caught up because the music business was saying you need to sell this amount of records or you don't get another shot at it. You see what I'm saying? But the business was saying just keep putting records in the system if the artists flop. And you're like, yo, I can't do that to the artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, which one am I going to do? I was sitting in there with distribution and sitting in there with radio saying, we need a hit. And these motherfuckers saying, we need more units shipped. So I got to sit here and play the game and say, we don't got a hit yet. So we can't ship? Nope. We don't got a hit yet. So you know what I mean? But if I had just been feeding the system, business, right? Your personal mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like I could have bricked Charlie's album. Then what the conversation would have been? I flopped on entertainment. You see what I'm saying? At least she could say never put out an album. That she bricked. But they didn't get it. You know what I mean? Everybody wanted to sell records, but you're gonna have to follow this machine. You know what I'm saying? You want to know what sold 5 million albums for Jay-Z? It's a hard knock life for us. You know what I mean? Like, you had the record. The first time you was trying to sell them with Imaginary Player. While Biggie got Juicy and One More Chance and Big Papa. Nas got to go get Lauryn Hill, If I Ruled the World, right? So, you know what I'm saying? Like, regardless of how classic this album sounds with all of these dope beats, nah, nigga, you need If I Ruled the World. So, yeah, I mean, you could point the finger at Un for a lot of shit, but one thing about it is that you niggas is still here, right? And can still do whatever y'all want to do. And the rest of them jokers, artists, they ain't around. They can't still do what y'all do. So who built the better foundation? Me or them? Cause all my shit gonna be classics.
Before Big died, what was his official plans?
More money, more problems. I mean, it was fashion, it was food, it was film, it was television. You know what I'm saying? I remember coming to Big in the first part of his career, and I said, yo, man, I think you should play Fat Albert in the movie. And he was like, man, yo, you bugging, Un. And then after One More Chance came out, he said, Un, I'll play Fat Albert now. So he understood, you know what I'm saying? He understood, man. So yeah, we had you know, and the plans are still being executed. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was just a roadblock. You know what I mean? Like I said, the kids, you know, what I would do, I would call Gumbo to do Luca Brasi, and I would do a brand, a Bud brand, a collab with Notorious Big and Branson, and I would get Cookies, Burner from Cookies to distribute it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would do with that weed brand for the kids. You know what I'm saying? Go get Gumbo, let him grow the strain, and let Cookies distribute it. You know what I'm saying? And it'll still be a multi-million-dollar business. Them people that's in your way, the Puff Daddies and the guys who suing.
So Big, he was taking the acting serious.
Well, you know, I mean, he was I knew he was there because with Crush on You, he wanted to do with Crush on You, the video idea that he had, he wanted to play all of these characters. You know what I'm saying? Like he wanted to be a security guard, him and C's. You know what I mean? Like he had a dance called the Bum Bitch. You know what I mean? Like he was funny like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was, you see, he went on Martin, you know what I mean? Right before Martin, he died, he did Martin. You know what I'm saying? He did a little acting on there. Yeah, but that's, he acted in the videos. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's where he wanted to be.
Great interview, man. Sensational interview, very informative. You dropped a lot of gems. Hey man, we gotta run this back real soon, man.
Hey, brother, I'm glad to be here, man. Let me know. I got some things coming, so we'll come back and see you.
Before we end it though, man, let the people know what you got popping, yo.
Well, right now it's Fulton Street all day, every day. Um, I want you guys to watch out for the trailer that's coming. That should be coming soon. Um, and yeah, getting ready to get back into directing. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I'm working on a sequel to The Perfect Holiday, the Christmas movie. So we'll see. I look forward to all of the stuff in the future,